Hi everyone, my name is Laura and I'm so happy that you're here. Today I would love to enjoy a yoga posture called gate pose or Parighasana in Sanskrit. This posture has so many lovely benefits. It's a wonderful combination of stretching and strengthening. And I hope that you'll just dive right in with me. So before we do enjoy the posture, I just want to make sure that you have the props that you may need. So you could have your yoga mat or two, maybe a blanket on the floor. Just want to be careful that it's not too slippy. So I do have double yoga mats for extra lovely padding. Maybe a folded blanket for this posture, a pillow that you might use to support your knees. And you might even like to have a yoga block with you. So once you have those items, you might pause the video and just make sure you have those things that you'll need or maybe supported by, and then you can come back and we'll meet in table pose. Lovely. So Parighasana is a delightful posture for opening up through the hips as well as the spine and side body. So if this is the first posture that you're diving into, the first asana in this moment, maybe you've been doing a bit of yoga, but if not, then you may like to warm up a little bit. So you could do some pratapana through the hips, perhaps circling around and around a few times. From table pose, you might circle the other way. So just being sure to have decently warmed up through the hip area and through the low back. You might like to do some rounds of cat and cow stretches. Inhaling to arch the spine, then exhaling to tuck the chin and the tailbone. You may repeat that a few times here, moving with your breath. And you can spend some more time finding movements through the hips or through the spine that support you in warming and preparing your body for gate pose. And then when you're ready, we will actually reach out through the right leg. So you can reach it out behind you. Let's draw the right knee in toward the elbow. So you're kind of opening it out toward the side, bending through the knee, and then we'll spiral around into a few big circles. So this continues to warm the hips, being sure to really root down through your hands, even down through the fingertips, keeping your elbows soft and your hands active. So after a few circles one way, then you would change direction. And as you start to rotate your circles outward, the next time that you lift up through the right side leg, let's stretch it out to the side. Placing the foot downward, the toes pointing in the same direction as the crown of the head. So the right leg is long. Root down through even the pinky toe side of the foot, and just notice how you feel through your left side knee. You may wish to reach for your blanket here. Just a little bit of extra padding. Then once you feel supported through your right foot, even pressing down through the pinky toe side, you can lift yourself upward. Lifting up to a kneeling position. Notice here that your hips are stacking roughly over this left knee. You're feeling strong through the core. You can reach your arms out and up toward the sky. Welcome a sense of lengthening here. Lengthening upward through the crown, through the fingertips, through the spine. When you feel ready, the right hand can relax down onto the right leg. I like to keep palm facing sky here so that I don't press down into the leg. So just being mindful that we're not putting weight in the right leg. Really, we're calling on the core here. can take some nice deep breaths. Checking in that the shoulders soften away from the ears. There's space here through the neck, through the throat. Breath is steady. This is a lovely posture to take time to warm up through the shoulder a little bit. You might find a few circles through the left side arm. Staying present with the breath. You can change the direction. If you are joining me in some shoulder circles, just know that they can be as big or small as you wish. Maybe they even are guided by your elbow. Beautiful. One more deep breath in. And a full breath out. Now using the core, come back to a neutral spine. Inhale. Exhale to swan dive forward as if leading with your heart. Core is strong. Hands land underneath the shoulders, and you can draw your right knee inward. Now before we move to the opposite side, you may wish to pause in table pose. Perhaps you wish to draw your hips back towards your heels for child's pose, balasana. Or you may even intuit that the body needs a bit of symmetrical stabilizing after that asymmetrical stretch through the hips. So if that's something that you're sensing in your body, then you might even come into a kneeling plank pose. Hands under shoulders, strong through the glutes, strong through the core, as a way to stabilize in symmetry before we try the opposite side. Good, and you can come back to table pose as you're ready, walking your hands back. Now, as we're getting ready for the opposite side, let's take a block here on our left, or rather, sorry, on our right. We'll take it on the right. So we're going to be moving the left leg. You can keep the blanket handy for a little bit of padding. Back in your table pose, reach back through left leg. Then draw your knee towards your elbow. You can begin to circle inward. Perhaps you notice that it feels just a little bit different on this side. And really honoring that as you go. Our postures do not have to be the same from side to side. You might have a different range of motion from left to right, right to left. You can go the other way with your circles. Still a little bit more pratyapana, warming up, checking in with your mobility, noticing how the hips feel today. And the next time that you reach your knee out open in your circle, extend through the left foot. Toes pointing forward, even pressing down through the outside edge. So this posture, you can probably already feel the benefits, the stretches for the hamstrings, down in the ankle as well, up into the hip. You can lift to kneeling as you're ready. Check in with your right side knee, maybe a little bit more or less padding is needed. You might even sense that this posture offers a bit of a challenge for your balance. So you can sense that in your body. And then when you're ready, the arms reach up. Let's take a deep breath in. Call on the core. Navel drawing inward and upward. Maintain that connection as you exhale toward the left. Without pressing or dumping the weight into left side body, you keep the low rib reaching up and away from the pelvis here. And you might even sense it as we move from side to side in this posture. Now the right side is lengthening, opening, stretching. The left side is a bit more activated, contracted, and strong here. That balance of stretching and strengthening. Now this time, let's try a revolved gate pose. So we can breathe into center. You might reach your arms up or out. And exhale to stretch over for your block here. With the right wrist aligning under right shoulder, left arm can sweep up. A revolved gate pose. So there's lots of lovely ways to play in gate pose. You might flow from side to side, inhaling to center, exhaling to Parighasana. Deep breath in. Exhale, revolve your gate pose. You could even start to sweep your hands over in front and then lift your way up like you're tracing a big circle in front of you. Good. You might pause in your revolved gate pose. Perhaps lifting through your foot for a more activated expression of the revolved gait. Even pointing the foot, bending the knee. You might reach back to stretch through the hip flexors and quads. So there's lots of room to play here. Just enjoying the exploration, the inquiry. When you are ready, you can bring your leg back out, lower it down if it was lifted. We'll come back to center. Good, let's return to table pose for a couple of breaths here. Tucking left knee in, and you might circle around or perhaps come into your kneeling plank, some more cat-cow stretches. Whatever feels good, feels needed and beneficial to your body in this moment. You might even tent your fingers if you feel that your wrists need a little bit of a break. And just quickly, we'll go over some ways to modify this posture if you are in a practice and you need to find a different expression of the pose to suit your body, to feel more supported and safe, comfortable. Or perhaps you are a teacher in a practice and you'd like to offer your students a different option for a flow so that everyone can be a part of the practice together, moving along together. Some options might be if someone doesn't feel comfortable having a leg extended, so that sometimes happens and people wish to bend the knee and it's just not feeling good, then perhaps they come to kneeling mountain pose, maybe with some support under both knees, if you wish to be flowing from side to side. So then your student, or maybe yourself, you can still be moving along in the flow together. So that's one option. And I like to offer a seated expression as well, if needed. If I'm noticing that maybe my knees are uncomfortable or I sense that one of my students might be, then a seated expression of the pose might be, and I'll use my blanket for this too, is to extend one leg out to the side. So one leg is bent, the opposite extended out to the side. If there's any need to support the hamstrings, you might put a block underneath, or to support the hip. On either side, you could put something underneath either leg for support. And then a nice stretch out to the side. Could be a lovely way for them to receive some hip opening, some hamstring stretching, and spinal stretching, lateral stretching, all of those lovely things that gate pose offers. And they could even easily transition into pratapana between sides. So if you're guiding your friends, your students through pratapana between sides, then they could enjoy that as well before transitioning to the opposite side. So just so no one feels left out or left behind in the practice. Maybe they wish to support themselves with some props, and they could even move right into the posture on the opposite side. Beautiful. Yeah, so some nice options in case the kneeling expression of gate pose isn't available. There's always a way to shift the position to support every body. So I hope that you enjoyed this clinic or this exploration of gate pose, Parighasana. I do look forward to hearing about any questions or comments that you might have just below. You can put them there, and I'll keep my eye out for any questions and maybe some aha moments that you might have had through the experience. If you are a student in the 200-hour Embodied Wisdom yoga teacher training with the School of Living Yoga, then I really appreciate you taking the time to practice with me today. It's such an honor. If you are curious about this online teacher training program, this 200-hour teacher training program with the School of Living Yoga, then I will be sure to leave a link below. Such an exciting opportunity to deepen your practice, to dive into the teachings of yoga, the ancient teachings of yoga, with some very skilled, very knowledgeable and loving teachers. Yes, so I can leave the link to that program below, and do just let me know if there's anything to check in about. Thank you so much for being here today. Namaste.